Hi, everyone. Welcome to this week's session in the wonderful world of Akashic Records. I'm glad to be here. I have my little kitty Poppy sitting there with me. It's funny. She was an outdoor kitty for a long time, and where we moved, we're not real comfortable letting her out. And we do briefly, but she comes right back in now. So she's kind of gotten to be an indoor kitty. And she's gotten to be a lap kitty. And she was never a lap kitty. But what's funny is she really likes when I read the Akashic Prayer. Like, she will come from wherever she is in the house. And she likes it when I sit and do my morning most benevolent outcome prayers or request. And there is something, I think, in the vibration of those words that she's really responding to, and it's just lovely. And so now when I have a day of sessions, she sits in my lap all day. It's really funny. I love it. But speaking of vibrations, that was in my last newsletter. Hi, Kendra. And I just thought, wow, more and more and more, if we could realize, our words are vibrations. They really are. And if we can have the sensitivities of a cat. Like, I think she was just showing me that there really is something to the vibration of words. Anyway, so, well, welcome to this week. I've got some good questions lined up for today. And let's see if there's any other little stories I was going to tell you. Today's October 1st, so we are starting out the month together. I always love the first day of a month. And I think it's a wonderful opportunity to really think about, like, September's over. What was September like for you? October's like still a fresh slate ahead of you. And what do you want October to be about? What would you like to express this month? So the first day is always a wonderful day to kind of just reassess where you are, where you want to be, what you want to do. And you've got 3 more months left of the year. That's crazy, isn't it? 3 more months of 2025. Gosh, this year has flown by. And it's like, so think about that. Is there anything you still want to see happen for yourself or do for yourself before the end of the year? And well, just take time today, I would say, and think about that and what you want the rest of this year to mean for you. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and read the prayer, and then we'll see what the guides want to share and go from there. Hi, Marcella. Hi, you guys. Okay. I ask God, let me get my down here. I ask God if He will have His shield of love and truth around you permanently, so only God's love and truth will exist between you and me. I allow the masters, teachers, and loved ones of you to channel through me out of whatever realm to say whatever they wish. I ask the permission of the Lords of the Akashic Records, so I'm able to look into the records of you and remove whatever information I'm allowed. Okay, 1 second here. Okay. Well, okay. So the guides want to address the chaos that is going on in the world. It's almost like everywhere you look, something is happening, something is stirred up. And they said to remember, this is time of great change, and new things are being put in order. And just keep reminding yourself that things have to fall apart as we know them in order for them to transform. And so there is a large element of trust happening right now that we need to have, and that our greatest good is being served and will be served. So what they are also wanting to say is be the calm in this storm. Be the calm in this storm. And it's kind of like they're showing like a tornado, and spinning that spinning vortex, strong winds, all of that. And they're showing like the eye of the storm where it's calm. Or even if you were in the center of that storm, they want you to be the center, be the center, be the calm, and let the chaos just move around you, and let yourself just be unaffected by it as much as you can. You know, it's they're saying if we can remain calm, if we can trust in this process, if we can not get picked up into that vortex, and caught up into that spin, whether it's a head spin or physical spin, emotional spin, spiritual spin, whatever you want to call it, they said to just let that happen, and to refrain from participating in it. And they would even guide you to, if you have opinions about it, great. It's kind of hard not to. They would have you hold those in, just hold those in, and acknowledge you have that opinion, and acknowledge that you also understand transformation is in order. So it's really challenging, isn't it, to not talk about what's going on, and just the craziness all around, and just the okay, I'm not going to say it. They said don't say it. It's hard not to talk about it. And they would really choose this time. And they're not saying to put your head in the sand and just be in denial of what's going on, but they are saying they would back off from the news and paying attention, because it's hard not to get caught up. And they said the reason it's hard not to be affected by this is because we care. And they said, your care for the world, you care for your neighbor, you care for these other countries, and just what's happening to people is what makes this so difficult. And so, again, if there's a way in your area you can find a volunteer and help and serve and aid in any way, do it if that speaks to you. Yet back off from the news, they said, because that'll get you caught up in things. All right, let's see here. I'm just going to say this too. Yesterday, someone just flat out asked in a session if we're going to have World War III. And the guides came back, no hesitation, and said yes. And I was like, whoa. And she was like, whoa, also. She asked if the guides ever said that. And I said, well, war has certainly been brought up, and like it's inevitable, but nothing that direct or definitive. So it was a little like, oh, and that may happen. And it may not. We may be able to put so much positive energy out there, so much calm out there, we can affect it. I don't know. Sometimes these things are destined to be a part of, the plan. So I did have a thought myself a couple days ago. Tom Moore predicts his predictions from Gaia, of all the earthquakes and things on the West Coast and what's going to happen there, just in that the ring of fire, what's going to start happening and how the landscape's really going to change beginning next year. And I think he said the summer of next year. And I had this thought that, what if it's not earthquakes? What if it is war? What if it is something man-made that, moves the landscape around? And it could be, so much of this work can be vague and left to our interpretation. But I would say one thing is clear: things are changing, and it's inevitable, that big stuff has to happen in order for big change to happen. So all we can do is tend ourselves, tend the ones we love, and really try and be that calm in the storm, is what they're saying. And be prepared. And so do what you need to do to feel prepared. Let's see here. I'm just seeing if they've got anything else here. Okay, so the fall season is about harvest, and it is about being prepared. And so they would encourage you to embrace the theme of this season, the season of fall. And winter follows fall, and winter is seen as that time of hibernation, that time to really go within and reflect. And so fall is the season that we prepare to hibernate. And so they would say, use this time to prepare, use this time to seek harvest, anything you might need or want for that period of winter that's on the way. And again, that is a real, physical meaning of winter's on the way, and also, figurative meaning. And so, yeah, there's going to be some times that will be challenging, they're saying, but they're not going to load a bunch of, doom on us by any means. They're just saying be prepared. It's funny, they're also saying, we weren't prepared for COVID. We weren't prepared for a lockdown. We weren't prepared for things to shut down. And we are being given ample warning now to be prepared. And so, what does that look like for you? Trust what comes to your mind. How do you wish you would have been prepared for COVID or a lockdown? What would you do differently had you known? And that's what they're saying. So, are we going to have another lockdown of sorts? I don't know. But we are watching a shutdown right now. There's a theme in the air. Now, this is the guides saying all this. So, anyway, what they're saying, just be prepared. Be prepared. If you knew another pandemic was coming and you had to sequester in some way, or things were going to be open in some way, what would you do? They would like for you to consider that. Okay, let's see if there's anything else. They said the other thing that they would offer, being in the calm of the storm, staying in that calm center, to remember to find your blessings, acknowledge your blessings, and have gratitude for the gifts that are coming your way. So it is to remember the little things while the bigger things are going on outside of you, if that makes sense. And that will help you stay positive and calm. And they said even hopeful. Okay. So remember, we're in this disruptive energy until February of 26. And I don't know if it's the beginning of February or end of February. So there's just a lot. There's a lot. And we are watching it. We're feeling it. So be kind to yourself and be kind to the people you come across. Kindness really does matter. Really does. Okay. I am going to hop to my questions here. Okay. All right, here is the question for my guides and team. As I continue to move forward on my soul's mission and life path, what parts of my life do I need to focus on more closely in the coming months? Okay. Let's see here. Well, it's interesting, just given that what they all just brought in, I love how questions really serve all of us, even though that's generated by one person and one person's interests. It really serves all of us. So what the guides are saying, their answer to that question is pleasure. How do you seek pleasure in your life? What does pleasure look like for you? And they would make that a priority. Mm-hmm. And that is something we can all consider in our own lives. You know, how are we making pleasure a part of our lives, and what does that pleasure look like? So that's so funny. Okay, I want to know if I'm supposed to be where I'm at, or is there another move in my future? Financially, it's expensive where I'm at right now. Any advice from my guides is appreciated. Okay. You know, I'm hearing to kind of settle in where you are. Um, I don't feel like it's temporary. Um, I mean, I'll tell you this. I see another move. I see another move, but I can't quite tell if it's like within 3 years or 3 months. I cannot get a grasp on that, but I would say settle in to where you are. There will be one more move. I'm even though this might feel like a strain to you right now, I'm hearing that will level out. Feels to me you're in a good place where you are, and to appreciate it for now. I'm going to lean towards the 3 years. It might be 3 years. Um, that feels like that has a stronger trajectory of when you'll move again. So yeah, I would settle in for now and appreciate where you are. And allow things to soften a little bit. So remember, knowing that it's expensive can stimulate that sense of lack and fears around not enough, not having enough, and they would have you soothe yourself over that and really look for the abundance in the universe, look for the abundance in your life. And so when we focus on abundance as opposed to lack, then the universe starts responding to that sense of abundance. And so if we can look around and start to identify just even like the abundance of trees around you or the sky, think of the universe as an abundant place. And we can either tap into that abundance or we can tap into that fear of abundance, lack of abundance. And as you move the needle to the other one, the universe starts matching that vibration. Remember, like I was saying in the beginning, words are a vibration, thoughts and emotions are vibrations. And so fear is a big vibration. Lack is a vibration. So see if you can use this time and cultivate a sense of abundance and be in the vibration of abundance. And even if you only do it 10 minutes a day, you're starting to move that needle. And this would be really good work for you to do right now, is what I'm hearing. And it may sound impractical when you're looking at your practical reality. I get that. And they get that, and yet they want to remind you this is a vibrational universe. You're a vibrational being. What you desire is a vibration, and what you're doing is lining up with that vibration. So you create the vibration within yourself, and then you can line up with it in the universe. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay, what are the main factors of why I am struggling with extreme anxiety, levels I've never consistently felt before? When will it return to normal? Is there anything specific I need to do to calm it? So I am hearing that part of what's going on for you is your sensitivities to things going on in the universe and the anxiety of, I would say, the masses. And I don't know if you're in an area that's particularly hit by what's going on, or in an area that's particularly stirred up, where passions are strong, maybe that's a good way to put it, or fears are strong. But I'm hearing there's some of that you're really tapping into. I love that you use the word, what do I need to do to calm it? Because that's how the guide started this talk today, was on being calm. And so one of the things I'm also hearing is that you're going through this for a reason, and you are learning to cultivate what brings calm to you, because this will be something you will be teaching others at some point. So they're not going to just hand you, uh, well, they're on a big Tai Chi kick right now. That's been coming up a lot. As a matter of fact, I even looked up classes here today where I am, and they said it's a beautiful way to move energy and to create calm within the mind, body, and spirit. And if that's something in your area that you can do, they would encourage you to. They would encourage anybody listening today to seek that out for a sense of calm and balance. Other than that, they are not going to answer your question any more directly, because this is something for you to tune into within yourself. And so, what they're saying is, you have the wisdom within you that you know you need to bring that calm. And they are inviting you to seek that out and connect with that. What do you need? So part of this, you're going to teach people how to do that too. You're also going to offer them examples of, or tools that bring calm. Does that make sense? Bring you to that state of being calm. You might be rolling your eyes at that answer, but you got work to do. But it's only because you're going to teach it. So y'all remember that. Sometimes we go through shitty things, in periods, because we have to learn to pick ourselves up. And a lot of that's because we're going to teach it at some point to somebody else, or demonstrate it to somebody else. We just don't know. But in this case, that's it. Okay. My workplace just had some layoffs. I'm so grateful that I was not one of the ones laid off, and I feel so much for those that were. It's a very heavy time at the office, even though I work virtually. I still feel it's the right job for me, and yet, as an empath, it's a challenge. Do the guides have suggestions for me on how to effectively navigate the corporate world? Okay. Yeah, it's like, how do you create that bridge from being an empath and spiritual person to that corporate world? But you are the bridge. And so how can you bring the essence of your spirit into the work that you do? And hang on one second here. Let me see here. They're just reminding you, and you already know this, everybody's on their own journey. And so it's kind of like COVID. When COVID happened, there were a lot of businesses that closed. And what the guides are saying is, some of these businesses people should have never went into anyway, so to speak, or they were running on fumes and they were trying to make it work, and they just wouldn't give up and close it, but it wasn't in their highest and best interest to maintain it. And so COVID comes along and shuts it down. But that created a new trajectory for, say, that person that lost their business. And that's what you have to remember. Sometimes these things happen in masses for a collective of people, because these people on a collective soul level agreed to it. And it's because they need to be pointed in a different direction, a new way. There's something, I would say, for them to retrieve from themselves. What gifts do they have within that they now have to reach for? And what changes do they need to make in their life? So remember, sometimes when we're not walking in awareness and we're not conscious, or we are, but we're denying the signs and the messages, the universe is going to give you that big push, that big shove. And sometimes it's a layoff. So you can trust that if that happened, it was part of their journey. And their guides are working for them just as much as yours are working for you. They're always going to maneuver you into where your highest and best is served. And so I'm hearing also for the company that this was a good move for the company, and it's a very difficult thing for them to do. They would like to be in a better place and didn't want to do the layoffs yet, because the company cares about the company and the success of the company and what the company is providing. They had to, make a difficult decision. And so understand, have compassion there too for that side of things. Not all corporations are ruthless. Yeah, they're there to make money, but we all are, right? I mean, that's the currency we exist within here. We got to have money to survive. And this company, it feels like, acknowledges that and is not being greedy or ruthless around it. So I would have some appreciation there too. That's what the guides are saying. So they said, have a little empathy for both sides, and yet understand people are just being moved into places that they'll be better served. And sometimes that has to come as a shock. Somebody might be playing out that victim mentality, and we'll just have to, that victim story perpetuates. Everybody's got something a little different they're working on. So just keep that in mind, keep that in mind, keep that in mind. One thing you can do is, one thing I like to do often is wish for somebody's evolution. I'll say a benevolent prayer that I ask all the angels and divine beings to assist all these people that just got laid off and evolving into the next highest and best version of themselves. Thank you. So that's a little prayer you can say for them. And you could also say a most benevolent outcome for you, or say like, I request a most benevolent outcome, that I find peace and comfort in this time of change within my company, and that I remember, everyone's highest and best is being served. So even those two little prayers or thoughts that you're offering will help shift how you're reacting to this or being with it. So thank you for asking that. That's great. All right, you guys. Thanks for hanging on. Okay. Okay, I see a possible opportunity for me being a part of a yoga teacher training. No one knows I'm interested. Do my guides think this is something I should pursue? Okay. I am hearing yes. And I am, if I'm understanding that correctly, that you will be part of the teaching group, like part of the teachers teaching students. And I am hearing yes. I'm hearing that your energy and influence need to be shared and a part of that experience. There's also something I would say you will learn in the process. Like you might appreciate understanding what teacher training is like. I mean, you've been through it too, but just being on that other side of it, I wouldn't be surprised if on down the road you did your own training. So you might take some nuggets out of this one and also design ways you might enhance it or offer it yourself. Does that make sense? But I'm hearing yes. Okay. Okay. All right. I am selling the high country and curious what the guides say about my next chapter. What will I do? And of course, what does my dad have to say about all of this? Okay. Well, I'm hearing it's time, and that they are acknowledging you knowing that and being in touch with that and having that clarity for yourself that it's time. And all of that feels really good. And I'm hearing that the high country is eager, um, I would say, for change also. Um, very appreciative of you being a part of its journey for so long, and also ready for something new, something different. So it's really fresh. It just feels fresh. It's a good thing all the way around. So for you, they're not saying right yet because, it's kind of like leaving a relationship. Sometimes, you just kind of got to be, and maybe take a year off from being in another relationship. It's like, oh, you just got to let the energy just recalibrate, to its new place of being. So the high country think like a person, very much a part of your energy. And when they're not, there's a shift, there's a real shift. And it's like your body has to kind of get back, or your, aura, energy, all of that just has to kind of get back, to a place without that in it. Does that make sense? And so they said, you'll take the next year and just really be. And what you'll find, it's like, and even, when you lose your dad, it's like, or lose anybody, you got to go through a whole year of seasons, anniversaries, birthdays, holidays, with that person not being there. And so they said to approach this cell as the same thing. Really give yourself a year to just have a whole year without, you know, uh, living with the high country as a part of your experience. And they said after that year, you'll kind of find that your inspiration starts to show up, or your desires start to show up. But for now, they said just be. Let yourself be. Be. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see bumblebees or honeybees, whether in, stickers or pictures or, real life, as a sign to just be. And your dad said there's so much more in store. And while he's doing this, like he's eager to do more things, he knows that there's a time kind of continuum here that you have to be on. And that's okay. And he's saying he's just going to drop little nuggets in along the way, and you'll be more inclined to receive them because you won't have the high country in part of your experience. And so there's another thing here. Your intuitive nature, your sensitive nature is really going to start to open up because you're removing this from the equation. So y'all think about that. Sometimes you have things in your life, and it really could be a person. It could be, a job that you have. It could be, just something that takes you away from yourself. And you got to really consider, how are you desensitizing, in life, holding on to certain things, and what would happen if you let them go and free that up out of your energy. So think about what's in your life, where you spend your time, how you're living. All of that's in your energy. Does it serve you? Is it serving you in some way to meet your highest and best? And what would it be like if it wasn't there? Think about that. So, not that the high country was bad for you by any means. It was a great, wonderful connection, a lovely experience. And yet, the time has come, for you've evolved through this process. And so you're just ready for that next thing. It's ready for that next thing. And so letting that out of your energy, because you've kind of outgrown it, is going to really lighten things up in a way you can't expect. And so think when you take some things out of your life that maybe have a weight to them, and you got to be really honest with yourself. You know, when you take a weight out, something that begins to feel like a drag or a chore or a responsibility or a struggle or a challenge, or you know, you need a pep talk to go to work, or you need a pep talk to be around this person, whatever that is, that's a weight. And if you take a weight out of your life, it gets lighter. And what is light? I mean, light is love. It's this language of the universe. And why wouldn't you want that? Why wouldn't you reach for that, right? So the other thing they're saying to remember, when something leaves your life, it really creates space for something else to come in. And there's always divine timing and divine orchestration. But remember, nature abhors a vacuum. So, like I said, when you create space, it's going to get filled, you know? And I don't know how many of you have ever just cleaned out your closet and given away a bunch of stuff or donated a bunch of stuff, and, you know, in 2 or 3 months, that closet's full again. Or somebody hands you some clothes that they're getting rid of. I mean, it just happens. So the high country is a big deal. Getting rid of that took a lot of space. So there's a lot of space opening up for you. And it just looks like be with this next year and watch the things that are starting to fill in. It'll be obvious. It'll be obvious is what I'm hearing. And your dad is delighted. So more to come, more to come. I'm just seeing that really big space that's becoming open for you. Hang on here. And I'm not hearing you've got this real tremendous kind of growth to go through, anything like that. It's really about staying light, staying positive, so that you can align with those things that you want to, even if you don't know what they are. But remember, when we tend our vibrations, the universe matches it and will send us where we're hanging out. So if you ever want an idea of, well, how am I vibrating? Well, look at your life. Look at your life. Look what's going on in your life. It's all a reflection of your vibration and a dominant vibration within you. So if there are things you want to change, look at where you can change that vibration within yourself. And that's going to be your thoughts, words, and actions. Does that make sense? I know this is big stuff. This is hard to get into when we're not having a conversation. But hopefully it's things you can think about and just start to be more aware of, you know, in your daily life as you go along. Okay. All right, let me see here. Who's online today? What can I've had a rough day. Do my guides have any words of wisdom to ride the storm? Oh, isn't that so funny? So you must have just not been able to come on right at the beginning of our talk today, but we talked about the storm, and our work right now is to be that calm in the center of the storm. So, and not letting ourselves get caught up in that vortex. Hang on here. So they said just to remember who you are. Remember the calm within you. You know how to access that calm. And you know you are, well, they said too, just you can use an MBO to get back to your calm. You know, I request the most benevolent outcome, that my anxiousness is replaced with calmness immediately, or whatever that might be, but use it like that. Okay, I'm working on entrepreneur in my life, but trauma gets in the way. Will this change? Okay. Gosh, entrepreneurship and a new relationship? And then trauma. Okay, let's see here. That's a big deal. Let's see here. Well, so hang on, I gotta shit here. I am hearing this love of your life. So there's something here that subconsciously you're feeling safe with, to move forward with in an entrepreneurial way, and in a relationship way, and really it sounds like combining those together. So some part of you feels safe. So remember, trauma is the parts of you that did suffer, that were wounded, that were hurt in some way, traumatized in some way. And so think about when that trauma surfaces, it's that age of you when that happened that's showing up. And this is just keeping it simple right now, even though trauma is a big deal. It's intense, and so, but just a simple way to look at this, and this will help you. Say, for example, you were 3, or say, for example, you were 6 when something happened, or whatever age that was for you. That part of you, that little girl, is still active. And so that's the part of you that's showing up and responding, and reacting to whatever's going on. So, on one hand, she feels safe too, and bring her fears up. But what you have to realize is when that part of you shows up, she needs soothing and caring. She needs to be given what she wasn't given at that time. And you, being the wise adult now, can do that. And, I would always, always, always recommend a good trauma therapist, or, protocols to really work with that trauma. But if you just know that when we are reacting, whether we've been traumatized or not, when we react to something, that's either ego that we're coming from, or it's a part of us that much younger got triggered or got hurt, that we're still looking at life through the eyes of that time. Does that make sense? And so when you can begin to process that, be with that, know that, I don't want to say it makes it easier to work with, but you can be kinder to yourself. There's a part of you that needs real soothing, needs to feel safe, needs to feel cared for, needs to feel she can trust, moving forward. And so you can get into that calm center. Think of trauma as that storm, and you, the wise parent, the wise adult, that can offer that comfort, that love, that soothing that the storm part needs. Does that make sense? It's big work, and it's powerful work. And if you could find a way to be grateful for this experience, because it's allowing you to really soothe those parts of you that are still trying to be in control, if you know what I mean. Here. We all have so many different aspects within us, and maybe there's the responsible part of us, the free spirit part of us, the perfectionist part of us, the playful child, the divine child. The victim is a part of all of us, but there's so many. And when we really begin to understand that we have all these aspects within us, we can begin to shift, like, oh, I'm being such a perfectionist. Okay, well, how can I relax that a little bit more? What does my perfectionist need? My perfectionist needs to feel safe. A lot of times things are going to come down to feeling safe. So think about what safety means for you. I would say that's really what you're reaching for. And again, it's big work. I thank you for asking that. Okay. All right, you guys. Sounds like we had some big topics today. Oh, and I want to share these cards, y'all, I normally don't share who I do readings for. I keep all of that confidential. Yeah, I'm going to share this one because she, I just recently met her. She's such a delight, and she made a card deck. And I'm going to draw a card. Her card deck is, I'll show you, Finding Your Way. Her name is Norma Jean Strickland, and I'm going to share, let's see, I'm going to draw a card from her deck. She sent me a deck and with her photographs. Oh, okay. All right, so the card that I drew is Flow, Flow, forever let oneness widen. Flow is being fully present in the moment where everything feels effortless and time disappears. You're not overthinking, just allowing. You have endless energy and focus. Even if you're tired afterwards, it's a satisfying exhaustion because you've accomplished something. Celebrate that. And that, I've got sunlight coming in here big time. So I think her deck's got like 52 card decks in them, but they're all little photographs. And the rest is on that one. These are all of her photographs, and she, for every word, like here's one, only now exists. Let's see. Beauty, be ever aware underneath the yearning. Anyway, bold. Oh, this is fun. Be outrageous. Live deliberately. But they're sweet cards. I have not gone through the entire deck, but I've enjoyed drawing from them this week. So I thought I would use those today. So let me draw one more besides Flow. Hang on here. Let's see. This one will be for the world. How about that? For all of us and the world. Oh, God. Really? You cannot make this up. Mercy. Whatever you call the source of life, the universe supports your growth. Like new shoots by a tree, you grow at your own pace. You're a part of nature, and nature has its own timeless wisdom. Wow. So maybe we all need to remember a little mercy this week for ourselves, for the world, for each other, and that we can understand that the masters and guides and divine beings of the universe are flowing mercy our way. How about that? I like that. All right. Well, this was such a joy, such a delight to connect today. And I guess I will see you next week. Thank you so much for your questions, for sharing your energy, and just being a part of this. All right. Thanks, you guys.